Oh, that's very dark. One moment. I'm going to shed some light on the subject. Ah, there we go. Alright. Stop that. This is my Tamiya The Frog vintage kit. I've had it for a while. I actually have been working to fix a few things up on it. It's had a few problems. I got it from my brother, who was taking care of it for my dad. My dad bought it. Well, my uncle bought it with my dad about 40 or so years ago, and they used it a lot, but then it got hung up in our basement, and we didn't use it for years and years and years, so I decided to put some time into it and get it to work, but there were a few problems. The batteries in this remote I got for only about 15 bucks on Hobby King. Didn't last very long, so I ended up losing a connection with the receiver that I put in here very often, so I had to replace those batteries, and it started working fine. But then I hit a bump, a very large one, and I actually broke this piece right here, which is connected to the servo, which controls the steering. So now, as you can see, steering is a little bit out of whack and doesn't work at all. So I tried to fix that the other day with some super glue. It worked for about 10 minutes of driving. Then, of course, I hit the curb and snapped it again. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to replace the part entirely. But yeah, it's a really nice car. Actually, for it being so old, I actually like it quite a bit. I use this Mega 2 AC/DC quick charger. It charges, let's see what I got. Well, this is my tailpiece, which broke off. This is the silicone shock oil I used on this pop-up right here, which is actually, there's just shocks on the front, but they don't work very well. I broke this shock right here, so that doesn't work very well. But I will come back in a minute. I need to find another one of these batteries to show you. Alright, I'm back. I have these Dynamite Dynasport 150 amp or milliamp batteries. They charge on this quick charger in about 15 minutes, and then you get a little under 10 minutes of runtime with this battery. It's really nice. I like it. It's these kits go for anywhere between $200 and $400 online right now because they're vintage. There is a they did re-release the model later, and those aren't as pricey as these original kits. This one is original, very first. It's the very first model that was released. Not this specific car, but it's one of the very first ones that was released. But yeah, now for an overview of this remote. Sorry, I need to get into the light a little bit. Might actually do it right here. This remote is about $15 on Hobby King, and it comes with a receiver and everything else you would need in the box. It runs on about 8 AAAs in the bottom, which is kind of convenient. And on the back it has a slot for charging, and it has a DSC slot, so you can use a training program on, like, virtual reality program on your computer. This right here bends and points all over the place. And right in here it has different controls for different things. Like this right here is the steering. Right here you can have it on normal or reverse. This would be the throttle, normal or reverse, which would change this to normal or reverse, and this to like right hand or left hand. And I don't believe you can switch it to the other side, but yeah. There's a bind button This is the LED that tells you when it's on. This would tell you when the battery in the remote is almost dead. It actually gets dimmer as it dies. Right now it's fully charged. As you can see, it's pretty bright. And then this right here is the steering trim, which I'm messing this up, but it can spin anywhere between 0 to 3 on either side. This is the throttle trim, which would actually change where this servo right here, sorry guys, it's so dark. 1 second. Okay, open some blinds. That would actually change this servo right here, would change where the oops. 1 second. That definitely scared me to death. Okay, I forgot the battery was still plugged in, and even though the car is actually off and the remote is off and everything, moving these contacts all the way up will actually still cause the car to go places. That's why you always have to turn the car, if you're turning it on, you have to turn on the receiver or the transmitter and then the car. Because if you turn on the car and it doesn't have anything to listen to, this servo right here goes all the way up to full throttle and your car is gone unless you can find a way to get the receiver on quick enough to stop it from moving. And if it gets out of range too quickly, then you kind of just have to wait till it hits something. But this receiver up here actually does have a really good distance. But changing the throttle would actually move this servo up and down to basically trim it. And then there's the steering dual rates that would actually change the dual rates. When you move this, you can either have it so that you can move it all the way to one side and move this wheel only about this much back and forth, or you can change the dual rates all the way up to 6. And when you move this all the way there, it'll move the wheel in the full turning distance in both directions. So I like the car. It's very expensive to keep up and running. It's actually having some problems back here in the gearbox. I've tried to fix that problem in the future. Got some new differential gears for it. That wasn't actually the problem. It was just a hex key right in here that was holding a gear on the motor shaft that was loose, so the motor shaft would spin and the gear wouldn't go anywhere. Yeah, so, and these right here, these are the resistors. I actually, every time I take a car apart, I only undo these screws and I never take these wires out because they're very fragile and they could probably snap off if I pulled on them. That wouldn't be very good. But the disassembly process for this car, for repairing, disassembly and reassembly is actually really hard and it takes a long time. So I try not to do it unless it's not actually working. But now I've gotten to the point where I really don't know if I want to spend the time to keep this car up and running. I might give it back to my dad or see if he wants me to sell it or not, because it's really not really going to be worth my time to keep it up and running if I couldn't spend $100 and get a brand new up-to-date car. But yeah, it is, if you're just starting out and you have one of these laying around, just doing a little quick tune-up on it is really good. It's really fun, but yeah, it can get expensive to fix a car like this. So that's all I have for you today for this video. So I am probably going to upload this to YouTube as soon as I can. Don't know why I'm saying this, because if you're watching it, it's already on YouTube. But anyway, see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe. It's very helpful.